And we're back for part 3. Maybe you can hear the jet flying over. Apologize for that. Haven't been known for doing any background music or anything, so sometimes you're going to get some jets or some traffic or some sirens or maybe even the fridge running. I try not to film while the fridge is running, but hey, what the heck. Reminds me of Physical Graffiti when Zeppelin had the jet flying over and they kept it on the album anyways just because they thought it was cool. Anyways, we're starting up part 3 here, my box 2. This box, by the way, is only about half as large as box 1. Box 1 was a big old popcorn box that I got at Costco. This one's considerably smaller and not even full. But getting to the point, we're going to do it again with Steely Dan. What a great song. Steely Dan had a lot of really good songs. Do It Again was probably one of their earlier big hits. And Fire in the Holes on the B-side of that. ABC Records. And moving on, we got a duplicate from box 1 here, but this is a reissue version of it. Bob Welch, Sentimental Lady. I already talked about how Fleetwood Mac did the backing vocals on this for him, and he was with Fleetwood Mac for a while. But the B-side on this one, because it is a reissue, is another great song of his, Ebony Eyes. Ebony Eyes. You probably remember that one. It was probably not as big as Sentimental Lady, but pretty good, pretty close. And following it up with repeats, here we've got another repeat from box 1, but this again is an earlier edition. It may not be the original because we got Warner Brothers and Curb Records, but December 1963, Oh What a Night with the Four Seasons, Frankie Valli. The other one we had was on Four Season Records. It was clearly a reissue and probably later than this one. I don't remember what the B-side was on that one, but the B-side on this one is Slip Away, which is a song that I'm not familiar with, just going by the title there. But moving on, we've got a couple of really good classic rock ones coming up here. Renegade by Styx. Renegade, who's got it made. Yeah, that's a great song. Styx had a lot of really great songs. Only a couple of really great albums, but a lot of really great songs. And this was one of them for sure. And the B-side of that, Sing for a Day, and sticking with A&M's modus operandi, they took that one off of Pieces of 8, while Renegade came from Pieces of 8 too. Oh my, okay, well, messed that up, but I ain't gonna edit it out and I ain't starting over, so I've got my facts wrong. Sometimes that happens. I do my best not to do that, but I really did think that the majority of Styx's 45s had songs off of different albums, and they do. We'll see as we go through them. The majority of their 45s, at least their earlier 45s from the 70s, had songs from different albums. But here's a really great 45 to have, Fool for the City by Foghat. And this is, of course, even noted as an edited version, 3 minutes, 10 seconds long. I'm not sure how long the original version was, but I would guess 5-6 minutes at least. That was a great album. Fool for the City was probably their biggest album. B-side of that one is Take It or Leave It. And that's 4:59, so that's probably not an edit. That's probably the album version, album length. And moving on, here's another great song. Peaches was not a record company, but they were a record store. So these sleeves were probably bought, produced and bought by someone for the sake of replacing sleeves they had lost. Capricorn Records, the Marshall Tucker Band, Heard It in a Love Song. And here we've got the edit, the 45 version again, which you're probably not hearing that on the radio these days. And when you hear this song on the radio, you're probably hearing the album version. So this would be another one that you might find quite interesting to throw on the turntable and give a listen, see what the differences are if you're that familiar with the song. And how can't you be? They play it on the radio all the time. At least they used to. I almost never listen to the radio. I'm not a radio listener. I have such a vast library of music. I put stuff on jump drives to listen to in the car. I don't listen to the radio. Sometimes if I was exposed to it at work, currently that's not a concern because I'm currently not working. I'm focusing on this YouTube channel and trying to get it up and running. But the B-side of this is Life in a Song, which does seem to ring a bell, so I think it's another one that you might recognize. If I put it on, I'm sure I would. And here going with a less known band, but not a less known song, This Magic Moment by Jay and the Americans. This definitely looks like an earlier edition, possibly an original. Like I said, I have not went through and researched all of these. I have thousands. There's no way I could research all of them, and I'm not that hardcore into it, believe it or not. I just like the Easter egg hunt. I love going shopping, looking for 45 songs that I recognize. Sometimes I take chances on things that I don't recognize. Since I don't have you, if I was flipping through a box, I wouldn't pick this up for that. But when I flip it over and see This Magic Moment, oh yeah, we know that song. And sometimes you're wrong. You think you know the song, you think it's the one, but it's something that someone else did. Reusing a title, because they can't really copyright titles, last I knew. That's why you get movies with the same titles and stuff, because you can't copyright a title. But anyways, here's Wings, Let 'Em In. What an awesome song. What a great song. I loved a lot of the work that Paul McCartney did with Wings. He was probably my favorite Beatle after the Beatles. I love John Lennon. He was my favorite Beatle, no doubt. But didn't care for Yoko, didn't care for a lot of the music that they did together. So Paul McCartney, he definitely was more appealing as far as the pop goes. This is an opinion. We all have opinions. Like I said, I love them both. But I did like Paul McCartney's post-Beatles work better than Lennon's. And what would be on the B-side of that? Beware My Love. That kind of rings a bit of a bell, so I think I'd probably recognize that song if we threw it on the turntable. And moving on, oh, another great song. In a Wrong Sleeve, we got a nice Arista sleeve for an Asylum Records release. Don Henley, Dirty Laundry. There again, he was probably the most prolific Eagle, not counting Joe Walsh, because Joe Walsh wasn't with him in the beginning, and Joe Walsh is his own man. I don't even really see Joe Walsh as an Eagle. I see Joe Walsh as Joe Walsh. But hey, there again, we all got opinions, right? But Don Henley definitely did have probably the most prolific career of any of the Eagles, Joe Walsh was standing. And what would be on the B-side of Dirty Laundry? Lila? Yeah, I think that was on the Can't Stand Still album. I don't think it was one of the better songs in my personal opinion, but it is an album cut. It's not anything super special. And then here we got, it might be hard to read this because this label is in such bad shape, but I do believe it was on ABC Records. I do believe that's where he started out, and this is Jim Croce doing Bad Bad Leroy Brown. I think I had a reissue of this in box 1, but not entirely possible. I know I had some Jim Croce's in box 1. If you go back and watch those videos again, you will come across at least 2 Jim Croce's in one of those episodes. And what was on the B-side of Bad Bad Leroy Brown originally, because I do think this is an original, even though I could be wrong. A good time man like me ain't got no business singing the blues. Oh, I wish Jim Croce would have lived and we would have seen a lot more work from him. He was a really talented artist. And coming up next, a big hit by a guy. He wasn't a one-hit wonder, no, but he was a couple hit wonders, maybe few. He had a few songs. I remember him doing the theme from Arthur, and I think he did something with E.T. too. But Ride Like the Wind is definitely his biggest claim to fame. Great song. Interesting if you're a metalhead like me that Saxon, great UK band, did a cover of Ride Like the Wind on one of their albums. It might have been Crusader, but they definitely did a cover of Ride Like the Wind, which, by the way, recently they just put 2 cover albums out, which were both interesting listens. Inspirations, I think they're titled. But anyways, moving on. The B-side of that is Minstrel Gigolo, which, nope, don't recognize that song. But I do believe it was on his first album, Christopher Cross, along with Ride Like the Wind, which is what I will always remember him for. And now we got a Warner reprise, which doesn't actually match up because this is a Warner, but it's not a reprise, it's a Curb. So somebody got close, but not quite getting it back in the right sleeve. And this is clearly a reissue too, Bellamy Brothers, Let Your Love Flow. I'm pretty sure that goes back a lot earlier than 75. But the B-side of that, Inside of My Guitar. Don't know that song. Might be interesting to put that one on, give it a spin. And here's an odd one, a surprise one. Again, in a wrong sleeve. This is a Warner Brothers sleeve as well. Maybe this one's the one that actually went with that last one. But no, it actually goes with the next one because they've got it written on here. But we don't want to spoil the fun here. Jeff Healey Band, and How Long Can a Man Be Strong? And on the B-side of that, we had Full Circle. So Jeff Healey, you might remember him from Roadhouse. He was the blind guitarist in Roadhouse. He did a lot of really great late 80s blues rock. But we're already up over 11 minutes, so we're going to have to wrap her up here and come back with a part 4.